Okay, this is my current spud gun setup right here. This is my main unit, all designed and developed and built by me. This is a combination gun. It works off air pressure, it works off propane, it works off any aerosol. Well, any flammable aerosol. Okay, let me show you how it works. We've got our main chamber right here. This main 4-inch PVC chamber, and that's where all the action occurs. And connecting to that chamber is this side chamber right here. Is an air chamber. It holds air pressure. I've tested it up to 100 psi, and also have a safety valve that won't let me fill it more than 115 psi. And I would fill it with air pressure right there. I could see how much pressure I'm putting into it, and it has a 3/4 inch fitting onto a ball valve where I would turn my air on and off. This right here is my trigger, and what this actually is a it's a sprinkler valve for like a irrigation system, and modified just so much to where I can use it for this setup. It's modified sprinkler valve allows an instantaneous release of pressure, which works much more quickly than your standard ball valve like this. That's what that looks like. Okay. Connecting to my sprinkler valve is a one-way check valve where it only allows airflow this way into the chamber and not backflow to it. Because I'm using more than one type of ignition system, I don't want it to allow any pressure or backflow into my air system when I'm using my propane. Okay, on the other side of this here is my propane fill valve, and basically what I would do is hook my propane hose up to it, and then I would turn this ball valve to allow propane into this tube, and I would measure my pressure. I would meter out a particular amount of pressure in this tube, and then I would shut this valve off, disconnect my propane from here, and now I would turn this ball valve to allow the propane into my main combustion chamber. And then inside my combustion chamber are two sets of electrodes, which spark and actually cause the ignition to occur. And there's one set of screws with the wires connecting, and then the next set right there, which leads me to my trigger, which is actually an electronic grill igniter, and it will spark about 4 or 5 times a second until ignition occurs. And this hole right here on the side allows me to, if I just want to use an aerosol propellant, I would just unscrew that hole, spray my fuel into there, and close it off, and then use that to ignite it. One of my kind of added features to this is a little project box I put together here, with one of which is a switch I would turn on right there, which starts up an exhaust fan here on the end of one of my handles. And I would open up this valve, and I could exhaust the spent gases from inside of the chamber, and to make sure I get a good mix the next time I want to set it off. So I would turn that off. There's also a fan inside of my gun right behind this, and which also allows me to kind of stir up my air-fuel mixture right before ignition. I would hold just this button down for a few seconds, and a fan starts going inside and kind of mix things up, and then I would ignite it. That's the main gun. I also have a little additional air-only gun right here, which also has one of these modified sprinkler valves attached to it, and it just has like a mini air chamber on it with a fill valve and a gauge. And I would just fill it up to, I tested it up to 80 psi, and it's very powerful because of its size. It's very small, it's very powerful. And I just connect my barrels. My barrels all screw on to that PVC end or this PVC end of my main gun. They're all interchangeable. Let me show you some of the barrels I have here. The barrels actually fit into the gun and screw on, so where I would actually load the potato right in the end here, and then insert that into the gun and screw it on. That's a 1-inch PVC barrel. they're about 4 feet long. And there's a 1.5 inch PVC barrel. Right here is a 2-inch PVC barrel, which is slightly shorter. And right here is another 1.5 inch barrel, but I've added a feature which helps reduce the sound, otherwise known as a silencer. So it doesn't really silence it very quiet, but it helps to get rid of some of the pop. Okay. Right here is some of my fuel. This is a little portable propane tank, and I had to make this little adapter to fit right onto the tank. And this is the tube I would fill. It's just a quick disconnect valve. I would hook it right up to my gun. I could make sure I have good pressure right here. Turn this to allow my propane into it. And it's just a really easy, quick disconnect. And also my air fuel is right here. I have a little portable air tank. And I would just connect the hose up to it and fill it right from here. And the most important thing is ammo. The primary ammo of this, the primary projectile, is your standard potato. Works beautifully. And never forget, safety glasses. Safety glasses.